This is Providence Television International, the toast of today's television viewers. Don't be left out.
Good day and welcome. This is the newspaper analysis on Providence Television International. I am Ugbebo Ikekwa. With me in the studio is Dr. Emmanuel Igariba. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm feeling so good now because the Harmattan haze suddenly came back. It's my best season, and I just pray it endures for much longer. A lot of people don't like it, particularly people who have respiratory ailments, asthma, and a few other things. But they should watch the environment in which they situate themselves. Dusty environments are not too good for them.
Yes.
And Harmattan comes with a lot of dust. Okay, but the weather is cooler now, particularly in the night. I enjoy it a great deal, so I don't even use my AC anymore. But yes, that's good. Everywhere is dusty, but I think we can manage. It won't endure for too long because the dry season is just around the corner.
Yeah.
All right, and we're still watching out for the first rain of 2025. I don't know what's so particular about that, but peculiar. But a lot of people say, "Oh no, when are we going to have the first rain?" As if the first rain will change their fortunes or whatever.
The same Nigerian mentality, especially when it comes to religious beliefs. They say it comes with a whole lot of blessings.
Some people will even go out with
Some people go out with both, exactly.
To receive the blessings that come from the first rain of the season.
Yes.
All right, so here we go again.
All right. I've always wondered, in this country, we've always had this situation where the pronouncements from the Supreme Court happens to be flouted all the time. We now have a situation. We'll be looking at the front page of the Nation newspapers, where we have federal government ministerial panel to enforce council autonomy. This is a statement already by the Supreme Court. Autonomy has been given to the local governments. It now takes the federal government to come up with a panel to enforce this same pronouncment. How do you see this?
Must even take a panel.
Exactly, my
First,
point.
because we have the armed forces, we have the police, we have the armed forces. And, well, maybe not necessarily the armed forces, but the police. I mean, the police can enforce some of these things. But, you know, the real problem is some of the states belong to the ruling party. So they can do no wrong. That's the real danger. They flout some of these things at ease. You know, but even individuals, that's my worry really about the position of our court system, or what you refer to as a judicial system. If people can flout what comes out of the Supreme Court, then the Court of Appeal and the High Court don't matter anymore. They don't. Okay? And that is where the real problem will be. If we flout, with impunity, what happens to the common man? What happens to the common man? You know, the rule of law is for everybody, both the rich and the poor, the government and the governed. That's the rule of law. I mean, that's what the Constitution says. We must obey the rule of law. But if we flout court orders, who enforces? Of course, it's the police. I think it must be given from the courts. Yes. The police cannot just go there and enforce. I mean, the court, once the court makes a pronouncement, the police should follow up. That's the procedure. Okay? So, but I'm happy that they are setting up a panel. Let's see how far the panel goes, so it doesn't end up as self-indictment.
All right. Well, this brings us to another issue, strengthening institutions in Nigeria. INEC, let us go still on the front page of the Nation newspapers. INEC plans diaspora inmate voting. And my question is this. We'll be having issues as regards the normal electoral process without the diaspora voting and inmates voting. And now we're talking about bringing these two sectors into the voting system. Do you think this is viable at this time?
I hope it won't end up washing our dirty linen more in the international community. Because when you're talking about the diaspora voting, it means that people all over the world will have the opportunity to vote.
Yes.
And if their votes do not count, then there's a problem. Bigger problem that we're even seeing now. But my advice is, INEC, for goodness sake, they should tackle the home front first. Let us see to it that things are working on the home front. Okay? When things are not working on the home front, you are carrying your whatever into the diaspora. You know, it's laughable and quite outlandish. I imagine that maybe INEC will come up tomorrow and say that, oh no, they didn't say so. They are not even planning to do that. I look forward to that. But you see, common sense demands that we should finish what we have. Let's prioritize and let's make room for excellence at home. Voting procedures. I mean, this whole issue. Now, by the way, let me ask this: you shut down the whole country when you are doing voting. Are you going to shut down the countries abroad?
Not possible.
It's not possible.
Yes.
Well, those are different climes. You know, are you going to shut down the streets of London just because Nigeria is voting? No, you can't do that. Okay. So, but let's get it right at home. And I've always said this. You remember, once you get the electoral process right, every other thing falls into place. And again, if you don't, then it throws up the wrong people. Yes. With the wrong attitude and things, with the wrong orientation. But once you get it right, that's the beginning of our march towards freedom and liberty. So I don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
I really don't. And I know that many people will not subscribe to that. Let us fine-tune what happens at home locally before we now step outside.
All right. Talking about getting things right, let's go to the front page of the Daily Trust newspapers. On the front page, Daily Trust, airstrike kills 15 in Zamfara. Zamfara State governor says they are vigilantes. The Nigerian Air Force is saying we killed bandits.
So between the Zamfara government and the Air Force, who is right?
That is the question now.
Who is right?
You know, this is the second time that the Air Force is having an issue like this.
Yes, I mean, we said it here, but wasn't it last week or something?
Exactly.
You know, and Zamfara government, they know their own.
Exactly.
They know those who are vigilante. Okay? Are we now saying that vigilante groups in Zamfara, they dress like bandits? Because if they dress like bandits, then it will be justified that they were able to take them out. But the Zamfara government is saying, look, these are vigilante groups of people. But the Air Force is saying, no. These are bandits. So, I mean, it's a systemic problem, really. It's a systemic problem. And I've always talked about intelligence. Because if we had enough intelligence network on ground, they will be able to decipher.
Exactly.
Yes. Who is a vigilante and who is a bandit? Now, it has become very laughable now.
Very, very laughable.
Very laughable and ridiculous.
Very laughable, ridiculous. Because
it's very ridiculous because the government will tell you, and I'm happy that the government of Zamfara said very clearly that these are vigilante. Vigilante will not turn against the people.
Exactly.
All right? Vigilante means they are protecting the people. And on the other hand, a major institution like the Air Force is saying that, no, we took them out because they are what? They are bandits. So for how long are we going to have this kind of dichotomy? It
becomes a serious problem. Nigerians are facing the issue of bandits, terrorists. And now you now have a federal government institution now taking them out one by one. And because we agreed the last time they said it was a mistake. And now this is a mistake again. They are not agreeing that this is a mistake. They are saying...
Look, let me tell you, the real danger now is that even the vigilante people will now be scared.
Exactly.
If it is true that what Zamfara government is saying is true, the vigilante groups everywhere will be scared that if they come out, they will be taken out by the Air Force. Exactly. So who is now going to protect the people? Yes. So where do we go from there?
Becomes a serious problem. Well, we'll move down to the front page of the Voice of Liberty newspapers. Auditor General's report implicates Nnpcl in 2.68 trillion naira and $9.77 million funds diversion.
That's a serious problem. It's a very serious problem, and it's also an indictment, serious indictment. Okay? I keep going back to what people have been saying about NNPC or Nnpcl. The latest being the one from Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president, that he suspects there are things going on within Nnpcl. I mean, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Yes. And Obasanjo has not come out to deny what he said.
Exactly.
He has not come out to deny it, meaning that, and that is the collaboration now between what he said, probably what he impugned, and what the auditor. And don't forget, Auditor General is an employee of the federal government.
Yes.
He has an agency of the federal government. You know, in other words, he's saying things from a vantage position. And he's saying that, look, NNPC, there's a lot of sleaze going on in NNPC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And a lot of fingers have been pointed at this ministry. There's so much misappropriation of funds in NNPCL. So maybe this is just a piece of the iceberg. Nobody knows. Okay. But I think because it's coming from the Auditor General's report, the federal government must take the bull by the horn and look at the indices very appropriately and very, very strongly so that they can diffuse, certain doubts coming from different directions.
Serious issues as regards the oil sector. If we remember, just last week, the CBN governor came out to agree that some money running into multiple billions of dollars were still spent as at last year for the importation of oil.
In spite of the removal of subsidy. Those are questions that people ask. I mean, in any case, these are ordinary questions coming from ordinary folks. Yeah, even people who are not enlightened enough, they will ask basic questions. And they are telling us that, to support what you are saying now. And on the other hand, you are saying that subsidy has been removed. So how do we juxtapose these two positions? A lot of things happen in this country, and that's why some people say that Nigeria is a joke. Some people have said that no, it's a joke. Yes, and we are beginning to see a lot of jokes in the system. Obviously.
Exactly.
Right.
Talking about jokes, well, to some people it might not look like a joke. To some other sectors, it would. We've always heard of this saying that charity begins at home. If you want to rule a nation, at least your house should be intact. This brings us to the front page of the Nigerian News Direct, where we have leadership tussle rocks PDP as two national secretaries resume today amid confusion. Stakeholders brace for potential showdown if crisis persists. Anyanwu, Ude Okoye defy party leadership, threaten chaos.
The greatest beneficiary in all of this thing is the ruling party. Yes, because that's the major. PDP is the major opposition, whether you like it or not. Yeah. And the more problems they have, the happier APC is. Okay? But that I hope this is not the death knell of PDP. They have not been able to manage their opposition status appropriately, and a lot of things are pointed in that direction. Now you are having two secretariats, as it were.
Exactly.
If care is not taken, the federal government can ask the police go and block, so that to diffuse trouble and tension, as it were. Okay? So, but I just hope they'll be able to manage the situation well. They have a lot of leaders across the country who can help them manage the situation. And I hope it doesn't even come to the prophecy of Wike, for instance, that very soon PDP will go to oblivion. Exactly. We are gradually going towards that. Yes. So, but the leaders, there are many leaders in PDP that should hold their heads high. I don't want to mention names, but they are there. Some of them have been governors, some of them have been senators, even Senate president. Okay, so, but this is the time to really give thumbs up for their leadership, that yes, we can manage certain situations, no matter how awkward and how odd the situation is.
All right. Talking about managing situations, we go down to the Punch Sports Extra. The front page of the Punch Sports Extra, NFF unveils Malian as new Eagles coach today.
Honestly, I don't want to talk about this. I don't know the problem with us, with our football administrators in this country. For many years, I was a sports commentator in this country, and it was never really like this. It was never really like this. Could it be that we have wrong people in the wrong places, or we have wrong people in the right places, for example? You are talking about foreign coach. You are bringing a Malian.
You're bringing a Malian, exactly.
And yet we have, this has always been my own position. We've had people in this country, some of them have gone to the great beyond, unfortunately. Great coaches, yes, who have had trainings abroad, who could easily compare with their foreign counterparts. The problem is, you bring these foreign coaches, you pay them in dollars, you pay our own in naira. Yes, why can't you elevate their status? Yes, why can't you elevate their status? And another thing, I was for many years the president, the chairman of the Sports Writers Association, association in Bender State, I used to say this, that look, when these people, then they bring in foreign coaches, how much are they giving you? $300. Give us a third of it.
Yes. Yeah.
They cut corners. Right. Particularly now when the dollar has risen against, or the naira is down.
It's down, exactly.
Against the dollar. No, so it's more money for them. But why must you pay certain people in foreign currency and the others in local currencies? And they even end up owing them for allowances and things like that. I can mention it now. They are gone now, by the way. Sebastian Broderick is gone. A good coach, a great coach who knew his onions. Alabi is there. He's aged now so terribly. He's over 80. There's nothing he can do now. But he was there before. Why couldn't we use him? We have Austin. Austin Eguavoen is still very much around. Yes. And there are scores and scores of coaches that we can use in this country. Zilliant, Coach Zilliant, when he went to Germany, he was one of the best. When he went for his coaching course in Germany, he was one of the best. Even Alabi went to Germany. Some of them have been exposed to Brazil and other places, but we can't respect our own. We have no value for our own, and that transcends even to the local things we produce. Okay, if you buy a pair of shoes now from Aba, oh no, this is Aba made, and the guy there is smart enough to put made in China, but you buy it.
You buy it, exactly.
Yeah,
for 3 times the price.
3 times or 4 times. Time was in this country, you go and buy motor spare parts. They will say, oh no, this is Taiwan, this is this. Can you talk about Taiwan now? You cannot. You cannot. So we must look inwards in all aspects of our national life. That's what we have always trumpeted on this program. In all aspects of our national life, let us look inwards and get hold of our potentials, God-given potentials. We have potentials in abundance.
Exactly.
Yes, in abundance. And I can say that anywhere.
Yeah, based on this thing, based on what you just discussed as regards potentials, I keep on wondering. It is always a source of worry to me that what is it they particularly have against Eguavoen? It delivers.
It boils down. I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but it boils down to what I've just been saying. The question to ask is, what has the Nigerian coach done to them?
Okay.
Or what have Nigerian coaches done to the administrators? Yes, it's a vital question. A question begging for answers. It's not their technical capability. There are coaches, what happens to nations outside our shores, even their World Cup teams. Their coaches lose matches, but that does not make them too vulnerable. Exactly. They can recoup and do things all over again. In this country, once you lose one match, that's the end. Off you go. Yes. But they forget that a match you lost could be a stepping stone to more victories. That's what happens because it's a game, and the game is a game anywhere. So, but we must look inwards. I keep saying that. We must look inwards. Let us encourage our own resources. Our own resources. Exactly. We do not respect our doctors. No. They go abroad and they become champions. We do not respect our engineers, computer engineers, for instance. Here we look down on them. They go abroad to US or wherever, and they become champions. Even our pilots. You'll be sure. Pilots are looking for jobs in Nigeria. Immediately they go out of this country, they get jobs. And, where are you coming from? Coming from Nigeria. You must have been well trained. Yes, that's the response. That's the refrain from some of these foreign countries. Too bad. Too bad.
Well. We'll take a human angle story from the Guardian newspapers. Last week, the 39th, I think, President of the United States, he was buried last week Thursday to be precise. And he is a man from the statements that were made by Joe Biden that will be remembered over time for his humility. And our own President Obasanjo is saying on the front page of the Guardian newspapers, Obasanjo reveals how Jimmy Carter saved him from Abacha.
Well, the old man, that's Obasanjo.
Yeah, that's Obasanjo.
The old man himself. He was good to have gone down memory lane, invariably telling us the good side of Jimmy Carter. A great man, giving all kinds of accolades. But let me also quickly say this. Yes, the 39th president, but the oldest living American president, as at the time of his passing. 100 years.
Mm.
100 years. And look at his funeral. All the 5 living presidents,
Yes.
4 ex-presidents and 1 sitting president were there, sitting close together. You can imagine Obama and Trump sitting together.
Exactly. They were together. They were
They
having
created a lot
banters
of banter.
even during yes.
A lot of drama went on there, even at the funeral.
Exactly.
But that's not the issue. Now let's come back to Obasanjo. He saved him because I know the man came. Carter came. Just like Pope John Paul II also came to plead for Sarah Wiwa. Yeah, but in his own case, I think Abacha just listened more. Yes, there must have been some religious correlation. Thinking about, the Pope came, how could you plead? He was a Muslim. I don't know, but it may have happened. But here was Carter. Carter, was very close to Obasanjo.
Yes.
Yes. He was a member of the eminent leaders group. Yes, and he was highly respected as a leader of one of the great leaders of Africa. So I'm not surprised that he's talking about this.
Okay.
But even as at that, did Abacha listen? Did Abacha listen? Maybe his intervention led to 1 or 2 issues. But you remember that Obasanjo could not have been freed if Abacha had not died.
That's true.
Yes, because it was Abdul Salam who now released him.
That's true.
Yes. Abacha's intention was to keep him there perpetually until probably he passed on. Yeah, meaning that even though Jimmy Carter came, maybe, suddenly he died. Okay. But the important thing to remember is that Jimmy Carter was a friend of Africa.
Yeah.
He was a friend of Nigeria. Don't forget that he played some part, glorious part, in the eradication of smallpox and all sort of things.
Yeah.
And he pumped in a lot of his money. That's what African leaders should be doing. Yes. That's what, write your name on the right page of history. Hold on to something that people can remember you by. How many people can remember Abacha today? Tell me. How many people?
Well, even if it's going to be remembered, it will be along the lines of the Hitlers, the
Yes.
Idi Amins, and on a negative side.
But I think that once a leader passes on, it should be remembered for something worthwhile. Yes. Oh, this guy had milk of human kindness. That's what matters. And the bottom line, of course, is compassion. Yes. Our African leaders, most of them don't have compassion in their agenda. So when they pass on, they become history automatically.
Exactly.
Okay? But look at Carter. Carter, a Nobel Peace Prize, you remember, he was a champion of the causes of poor people around the world. He championed the causes of human beings around the world who were poor, who were put on the side of existence. He was in support of religious tolerance.
Yeah.
You remember? Yes. He bridged the gap between the Arabs and the Palestinians.
Yeah.
Between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Remember the Camp David Accord? He was the one. He was there. Okay? So I was not surprised. The world leaders, they came in with all kinds of accolades. That's how to know a good leader. And that should be a point of emulation from our African leaders. Let us see that they are remembered for something worthwhile.
All right.
All
right. We'll go to the front page of the Punch newspapers. Dangote, Nnpcl, total 247 firms dump discos, generate 6,500 megawatts. Operators blame poor supply for move, while the federal government laments exit from national grid.
I will tackle it from 2 angles.
Okay.
First of all, we are happy that they are opting out of the national grid. That makes me very happy because I've always said it here that we need to download the excess from the national grid. Let us remove some from them. And this is what has happened. Incidentally, you won't believe this. What they are offering now is more than our national, what goes into our national grid, 6,000 plus. I think we are generating about 4,000 or something.
Exactly, yes.
Okay? So, but they are generating about 6,000 cumulatively. That's one angle to it. The other angle is the federal government probably will not be happy because they are losing revenue.
Definitely.
They are losing revenue that will have come from these other people. Yes. Why must anybody bellyache anyway? Just because they want to. And that is the ultimate. I've always said it here. We need to have alternative sources so that we can reduce the workload of the grid. That's what I understand. I don't know if it's right, but the social media has been awash with it that the grid collapsed again a few days ago.
Yes.
At the beginning of the year.
I think why the major newspapers did not carry it, it's no longer news.
Oh, well, in other words, it's no longer news because it happens
Now
and again. So it's nothing unusual.
Nothing unusual.
Yeah, but it's bad enough for a national psyche. And I think that, yes, I will implore many more people to do things on their own. So supply your own means of electricity supply. Yes. Supply the electricity, what do you call it now? The electricity volume.
Volume, okay.
Yes, that you want to use. Okay? So that, first of all, there are two issues involved in that. One, you are sure of what you are using. And secondly, you are no longer dependent on the NEPA. Because if you are not dependent on NEPA, what that means is that you have no business with NEPA anymore.
Exactly.
Yes, and they won't come about with all kind of ridiculous bills, and things. So it's kudos to Dangote and the rest. Big kudos. And in any case, all the major oil companies that have anything to do with exploration can have their own power supply.
Exactly, yes.
They
Just like you suggested some time ago, that the universities
Even the universities.
should generate their own power.
They should. Yes, and they have the capacity. Let them look, again, inwards. Let them look inwards. Why do we have professors of physics and electrical engineering? What are they doing? Let's engage them. Let's have eggheads coming together and say, look, we want to. And it's doable, by the way. It's doable. With solar, it's doable. Okay? So when you have major universities, like the first generation universities, opting out, for instance, the workload on NEPA comes down, and people cannot have electricity the way they should. All right. And again, I've always said it that, look, the federal government can encourage young people. When you have industries producing batteries and solar panels, a lot of people will be employed. There will be more employment for young people.
Exactly.
And then that means more power resource to a majority of Nigerians. Okay?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Egariba. On this note, I want to say thank you. But as usual, we'll have a parting shot from Dr. Emmanuel Egariba.
Well, the parting shot is simple. I mean, let's face it. We must look at many areas, of employment and things like that. We have property division. Yes, that's it there. Providence Properties, okay, our services, buying and selling of properties, estate developers, property management, and a lot of people do come around. But you see, we need to have a situation where you can connect with organizations like ours, because out there you have so many people who are just mere infiltrators, okay? But when you come to us, you are sure of what you are getting. You must have value for your money. I can assure you that. So the office remains the same. 42 Igbesana Street, by Area Junction. The phone number is what you can see on the screen there. So Providence Television, Providence Properties, all within the same template. So I want to urge people who are involved in buying and selling to come to us. We'll be ready to receive you. We'll be ready to serve you much better. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Well, for you, our viewers out there, I say thank you so much for being there for us. Like I would always say, don't forget to tell your friends and family about Providence Television International. Thanks for watching. Please stay tuned.